Hey friends, welcome to the Mindset Podcast. This is your host, Sally Allen. And today we are talking about being perfectly imperfect. Can you see it? Being perfectly imperfect. And right now, as I'm talking to you, my phone just dinged. Somebody came through the do not disturb. My dogs are barking upstairs, and I am so tempted to redo this episode and do another retake. But I'm not going to do it because today I'm talking about being perfectly imperfect. And I know we talked about this before, being a perfectionist and all of that, but I want to bring a different spin to it today. So I was talking to one of my clients and she was sharing how this is something she really struggles with. She's preparing a presentation. She was preparing a presentation for about 50 people and it was via Zoom. And she was so nervous. And we had to go through and talk her through like, why was she so nervous? And we broke it down because she wanted it to be perfect. The executives will be there. And so what does perfection means to her? And it means that she doesn't stumble when she speaks. The slides are perfect. Guess what? It's perfect to her because it might not be perfect to someone else. She's got to realize that she's done the best she could. And third, she gets the message across, realizing it wasn't about her. It was about the people she was given the message to was very important. And so that calmed her spirits a little bit and made her realize if she makes it about them and not about her, then she'll be fine, perfect or not. So it got me thinking because we all want to be perfect and we want things to be done a certain way, or most of us do. And as I was talking to her, this thought came to me because I've been thinking about excellence versus being a perfectionist. And as I was writing my book, I realized that there had to be a sense of excellence and perfectionism when it comes to writing a book. Nobody wants to read a book with grammatical errors. Nobody wants to read a book that's not perfectly, but adequately structured, right? You don't want to read the ending of the book in the beginning. I had to structure it correctly. I had to structure it in a almost 100% perfect way for the format to be uploaded on Kindle. And there were certain things that had to be at least 99% perfect for a book to be published. And call that, yes, being a perfectionist helped me to get the book to that point. But then I realized there were some things that couldn't be perfect. And because I like things to be perfect, I had to use another word. And that word I used was excellence. And I had to give myself a percentage, which I said, if the book is at least 89%, yes, I gave myself 89% of where I want it to be, then I'll be happy. And that was the things I had control over. The cover, for example. I'm going to show it to you again. Don't get tired of me showing it to you. I just published this book. The cover, look at it. The cover does not need to be 100% perfect. We went through many, many iterations to get it here to where I wanted it. In the end, I wanted to make more changes, but I had to leave it alone because knowing me, I'll continue to want to make those changes. And I had to take my 90% as excellence because it's never going to be perfect. I always want to make another change. That's one. The next thing was, as I went in the book and I was looking at certain things, I wanted to add and delete certain paragraph. And at some point when you're writing a book, you got to leave it alone because you have deadlines. It's perfect the way it's structured. I had a structure and it's perfect that way. But the excellence part was, I got to leave it where it's at. I'm not making another change. No, I'm not adding that other sentence. The last thing I add was to the readers. I had 5 sentences and I added 2 paragraphs. And that was my 90%, because as I go back, I had all these thoughts and all these ideas and I wanted to change it. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. Again, those are things that were within my control. And I had a choice. And I chose to give my excellence a percentage, which was, I said 89%. And that was just to make it a little funny. But I'm going to leave it, because when I have other ideas, I'm going to tell my publisher, don't make me make those changes. Let's just make this the final book. And so that's what we did. So I really want you to think about perfectionism versus excellence. Because perfectionism is things you don't have control over sometimes, and you have to make it a certain way. There's a certain format, there's a certain template. When you're using a presentation, for example, when you're making a presentation, for example, at work, the template the company gives you, right? You use that template. You don't have a choice. And then you create it and you get to make all these other changes. And you got to say, at some point, I have to stop. I have to give my excellence a percentage, and I have to stop. Whatever is within my control, I could go crazy changing it, or I can say this is enough. And if it's a presentation like my client had, or if it's a talk and you're actually speaking to other people, it's about them. It's not about you. And when you make anything that you do about other people, more than likely you won't try to be a perfectionist. What you will do is say something to this effect or think like this. I just want to add value to them. And that in the world makes the biggest difference. If this episode had any impact on you, I hope that you share it with your friends. And as I always say, if you change your mindset, you can change your life. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.